Up. This is going to be a bit confronting, but I know if you're watching, you're a conscious parent, and that means that you're willing to see the truth even if it hurts you. We're going to talk about shame, and I'm going to give you 10 things that are such common phrases that get thrown out by parents who are normally shamed by their parents, that is causing shame for your children. If you find yourself saying something even remotely like this, it needs to stop today. Today needs to be the moment that you go, shit, that just hit me. It stops today. And, open yourself up, lean into your vulnerability and learn, how can I do this differently? Because it damages your children forever. Shame is the most deeply rooted trauma. I mean, you can go and listen to Brené Brown and hear her talk about how deeply rooted shame is and how much of an effect it has on every area of our life. It is the hardest thing to dig up and to be able to heal. So let me share with you what you may not realize you are unintentionally doing is causing shame for your children by saying these things. And there's so many other things, but I wrote 10 of them down, okay, so that I could really get the message across. So these are things like, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Okay. Some parents will say something like, someone who loves their mum wouldn't do something like that. Well, someone who loves their dad wouldn't do something like that. That it is so manipulative and it is nothing but shaming. I'll get to that in just a moment. Another one, particularly, obviously, if you are religious, where people say Jesus wouldn't like that. God is watching you. Extremely manipulative. You can't use God and Jesus as a way to manipulate your children, okay? Because that is not love. God is love, but that is not love. You should know better. Even just that, you should know better. You should have known better. I'll get to in a moment how that shame, that'll make me feel bad. If you do that, that'll really hurt my feelings. This isn't about you. Your child is not responsible for you or your feelings. You are. And when we do this, we are just manipulating and trying to control the child by guilt tripping and placing a burden on their heart that somehow they are responsible for how we feel, which is not the truth. That's you needing to do your work and work on your baggage. But anyway, another one is, you've really disappointed me in your father. Like, that is so unhelpful for a child. Another one is, if you do that, you'll hurt my feelings. Even something like, stop it, you're giving me a headache. Right? Not stop it, I've got a headache, but you're giving me the headache. It's shaming, it's guilt tripping, and it's damaging to your children. They are not responsible for you. Another one that actually came from one of the parents in my group recently was, I'm glad your dead grandfather isn't here to see you boys fighting like this. He'd be turning in his grave right now. That huge. I'll go into it in a moment. And another one is even just something, and I know I'm saying this because I know it's so unintentional. We don't say it with the intention to shame sometimes. We just don't realize that it does. Another one is, I can't sleep at night worrying about you. You make me so worried I can't sleep at night. Like, like, my problem is because of you. The problem I've got with not being able to manage my own thoughts, my own emotions, my own perspectives is now your fault because I can't sleep, and that's because of you. All of these things that I've just mentioned, they are nothing other than an attempt for a parent to control a behavior or a decision of a child by manipulating them and shaming them and guilting them. Now, here's why it is so damaging, because people live up to what they believe about themselves. And when you shame your child and put guilt on them all the time, what happens is they start to build a belief system of, I am bad, I am not enough, I am not worthwhile, everything I do is wrong, I'm affecting my family, it must mean I don't love them, okay? And this then, what happens is they start to see themselves this way. They believe that they see themselves as shameful. They believe that they are shameful. And guess what? They act as though they are shameful. We all live up to the beliefs that we have of ourselves. And when we go through life believing that we are wrong, that something's wrong with us, that we can never get it right, that we cause problems for other people, that what happens is shame becomes justified. It's like we believe we deserve it. We believe that, nobody likes us, nobody loves us, and it's our fault because we're such a bad person. That then opens this child up to everything that you don't want your child to experience. So I'm not going to get into it today on what to say. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cover that tomorrow. So if this resonates with you, if you're like, oh my gosh, I say that, I never realized. I'm not saying that you intentionally do this to your child. The deepest damage is often the damage that was done unintentionally. Okay, so come back to my live tomorrow, make sure you're here, and let me share with you what you can say instead, because I know there are moments where your child has disappointed you, but it is not your right to put that. Your disappointment isn't the problem here. Their choices may have created disappointment, but it's not their responsibility to fix how you feel. It's their responsibility to perhaps open to some new perspectives and alter some of their choices and start to realize what the consequences of those choices will be in their life, but they are not responsible for you. And so putting a burden on our children that somehow their role in life is to make sure that we feel happy and that we're never disappointed and that we've never got something to be sad about, that is not a responsibility that belongs to a child. Okay, the responsibility of a child is to learn who they are, to become authentic, to be able to work out what their values are and how they want to show up in life, and to have the courage to be a full expression of themselves and use the feedback they get from life, whether it be the consequences or punishment sometimes, whatever it might be, to be able to manage and alter and adapt who it is they are and how they show up in the world. And as parents, we need to provide a space that feels safe for them to do that. But when they are getting messaging from the people they look up to the most, that is shaming and guilt tripping, that is damaging to the rest of their life. That creates low self-esteem. Low self-esteem is a target for bullying, okay? Or it creates somebody to become a bully in order to be the one that can protect themselves. So, they become the bully or they get bullied. And low self-esteem at its depth puts a child on a path that what I call the scary path, the path that leads to anxiety, depression, addictions, and suicide. So, while they're at young ages, you think you're just mentioning something about, oh, that's really disappointing. You've disappointed me. Oh, you should be ashamed of yourself. You should have known better. And if you don't realize the weight of those words and how deeply they become embedded in their mind and shape what they believe about themselves and therefore how they show up in the world, then, this is a cycle that we just have to break. So those are the 10 things. Go back and watch this replay if you need to, so that you can really get those in your mind. Stop saying those things. Come back tomorrow and I'm going to show you what to say instead when your child has made some bad choices and you are feeling disappointed. I'm not saying you can't have a conversation like that with a child, but placing the burden of that on the child is not helpful to them. It doesn't help them grow. It doesn't help them learn. It doesn't help them expand and become more conscious and more aware. All it does is remind them subconsciously what they hear from you is, you're so stupid, you're so dumb, how could you do that, what an idiot, how dumb could you be? That's essentially what they hear at a subconscious level as they translate your words, and that then becomes the foundation of what they believe about themselves. So comment down below. I want some more topics from you as well. I know some of you have reached out to me. If there is another topic you would love for me to cover, I'm going live every single weekday. So put some comments down below of what you would like me to talk about, and I will get to those topics. The most popular ones go first, and we just work through them all. Remember, I've got an upcoming webinar. It will be completely free. There will only be a 48-hour time period to be able to register for that webinar. So if you want to be one of the first people to get the link, make sure you comment down below #webinar. We will be sending the link to everybody that's been on these lives and asked for it before we send it out publicly and the lines book out, all right? If you want to do the really deep work on your parenting and you're starting to realize all these little mistakes you've been making unintentionally intentionally and you want to make sure you don't get it wrong and there's no gray area and there isn't something that you're not aware of that might be causing damage for your child, then I would highly encourage you and I would invite you, comment down below online program. I will get one of the people who work with me to give you a free parenting support call so that we can chat to you about what's going on in your family, what your challenges are, and give you the best support we possibly can. I know parents need it right now. I know families need it right now. And more than ever, our children need us showing up for them right now. The world is pretty scary. The world is very uncertain. We're living a life that no generation has ever lived before. And so more than ever, our children need us to be conscious and need us to put our hand up and go, hey, I want to learn a better way. So if you're ready to take that journey and you want to look into my online program and come work personally with me, we do Zoom calls on a Tuesday night where we literally get to talk every single Tuesday night. If that is what you are open to, comment down below online program and we will be in touch with you to offer you a free parenting support call. No obligation. You can just hear the information. And if it resonates and feels like what you're ready for, then of course you can join the program. And for those of you who aren't interested in that, this is why, or if you can't afford to spend money, I get it. This is why I'm offering free stuff every single day. This is why I'm about to run a free webinar so that no family misses out. If you're willing to invest in your parenting, of course you get a whole lot more value over in the online program. But if you don't have the ability to do that, that's why I'm offering as much as I can for free. So it is great to cross paths with you. As I always say, please depart from here with courage. It takes courage to be this kind of parent. It takes courage to put your hand up and go, shit, I've been saying some of the wrong things. Gosh, I need to undo that damage now. I need to learn a better way. All of this takes courage. So as you depart from here today, please depart from here with courage. The courage to believe in a better way. The courage to voice what you've got to say. The courage to thrive when times are tough. And above all else, the courage to know you are good enough. Goodbye.